Yes, good people, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I wholeheartedly offer whatever suits your time zone. I hope you're all doing well. Let's get into it straight away because we're very late today. And pardon me while I take a sip of my coffee. Yeah, because I'm still not fully awake. Hopefully that helps. Yeah, there ain't too many stuff to talk about, but there's a chance by the time we start talking, we get into a whole lot of stuff that will stretch the stream. But we had this is going to be just about an hour plus, at most 2 hours stream. Morning, Kachila panel and chat. Again, a bonjour. It's a blessing to see this new day. Chelsea or no Chelsea, we're blessed. That's the truth, and that's a dube lamato. I appreciate that. And as you're coming in, please take a second, drop a like on the stream, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I highlighted this comment, and I really do want us to talk about it, which says again, Morning Blues, Kachila panel and chat. I heard Fabrizio Romano saying that David Datro Fofana is on the list for a summer. Make it make sense. Yeah, on the loan list for summer, it doesn't make any sort of sense. Had we paid, if, let's say we paid anything north of 15 million for him, I think we'll be keeping him. But because we got him for cheap, I think we don't value what he offers. Who laughed at you? I don't know who laughed at you, but big up to you, Eugene Nutty. I hope you're doing well, and big up to my brother, again, Mikhail. Big up to my brother, my other brother, Santiago Munez, Dube Lamatu, and also Liam Lane, who's not here, but I know he's probably listening. If you're listening, just know we're praying for you, and you'll get better soon. And Glenn says again, who was laughing because Leao was talked about a lot on here, and a lot of people wanted him. Thank you so much for saying that. And it turned out, again, maybe the club decided maybe they prefer that maybe the club looked at Modric and Leao and prefer Modric, or maybe went for Modric when it emerged that Leao was on the verge of signing a new contract at AC Milan. So Glenn, big up to you. Thank you so much for saying that. Let's see what else we have here. We're not spending more than 100 million this year. Again, yeah, Brooklyn, but you have to realize if you go and buy Modric for 100 million, you cannot get Leao in the same window. It's as simple as that. Again, it was either him or Modric, and probably because we weren't sure what he wanted to do, we decided to go for Modric. Owners chose Modric, and Modric will still come good. Yep. How many games has he started fully? So I'm not even concerned about whether he does well or not. Yes, if you're watching, if you haven't, take a second, drop a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't, let's get it to 100 likes as soon as possible, because this is going to be a short one. We started nearly an hour, 30 minutes late. Big up Kachila Chelsea all the way. Big up to you too. Kim So, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Thanks so much for finding the time to join the show. Aubameyang will leave at the end of the season. Or again, are you all happy now? No, don't blame the fans. There are people who know quite well that, again, the way things has gone for him at Chelsea isn't down for him, down to his own doing. We know that. I know quite well it was due to poor services. He doesn't run that much because of his age, but his positioning is still excellent. If you can get the ball to him, majority of the times it put it away. So I don't blame him. Hello to you too, Rashi. That avatar makes me laugh. And make sure you're subscribed to our sister channel called Soccer Perspective, because it's going to be on fire very soon. We're still recruiting panelists to help us build that one. Potter is getting time. The board trust him. I know that makes you happy as a rival fan. You feel sorry for Potter or for us. But that's, by the way, again, let's see what we have here. Yeah, but smash the like button, people, and hit the subscribe button if you haven't. And do not forget to click on the notification button so that whenever we go live, you get notified. Again, I was talking about Leao for summer. Yeah, even at summer, we wanted him. He was too, again, we were serious. Apparently, AC Milan didn't want to sell. And if you're talking about Leao, actually, before the summer transfer window shot, it emerged that we actually went in with 100 million euros, and Milan refused it. Yeah, so we didn't give up. But for next summer, I don't think we'll go for him again. But the rumors have emerged that we're willing to still pay 100 million to get him. But it doesn't make sense. But we'll talk about that. Hopefully, I'll get some panelists to join me so we can look at it and see whether it makes any sort of sense. Next summer, I know you were saying next summer, and try to put your sentences together. Don't break it down so that Nightbot doesn't delete your message as spam, if that makes sense. Let's see what else we have here. So I think we're going to get to whatever else we have lined up to talk in a bit. Are you saying left wing? Let's see what the club does. Yeah, that's the position where Modric plays, but that's a chance we still need him. I'm not sure, but does it make sense to spend that much money? Given where we're at right now, we need to balance the book before we'll be able to spend anything close to 100 million in the summer, if that makes sense. So let's look at the next thing we have lined up here. Right, this one here. Give me 1 second. Yep, we're starting with this very first topic here. Anything else in the chat to talk about? Let me see. Okay, I get it. Again, I hope us loaning out Fofana does not mean Todd is thinking of getting a big run back. I don't know. That's a chance that may well be the case. Top of the morning, everyone. Hakim Frankinson, top of the morning to you too. I watched the game again after my emotions came down. I understand we did not play bad. I see something there. What did you see? Okay, what did you think went wrong? But the problem is, nobody said we played badly, but again, we were disjointed to a concerning extent. Our behavior off the ball was very concerning to me, and as well to other people, if that makes sense. So I'm not sure. I wouldn't say we played well, really. Again, we need a finisher. I'm sorry. Do you not say you're sorry? Just voice your opinion and pay attention to what we're talking about right now. Exactly. Just give me 1 second. Good afternoon, Kachila. Good afternoon to you too. Again, I hope you're doing well. Dominic, Maximilian, and again, Mudrik is Hudson Odoi 2.0. Hope I'm wrong. I think you're very wrong. All media is protecting Potter. Yep. Even though you're a rival fan, I think you're sensing that. I think you're sensing that. Yep, the media is protecting him for a reason I don't want to mention. Porte's British managers, even government were protecting him. That's how you see it. Again, Real James, again, are you sure it was a 22-23 game? Yeah, maybe that's a question we need to ask him to be sure he rewatched the same game. Yes, people, come on, people. 33 likes. Let's get it to 50 and shoot for 100 as soon as possible. Real James, again, are you sure? Again, Chelsea should stop wasting money signing players with a mid manager. It's like buying a Ferrari and giving it to a cyclist. Wow, that is some statement right there. Again, have you rewatched the game? Because I've rewatched it. My concern, more important, more can you say mainly our behavior off the ball. But that's, by the way, we move on from that. What else do we have here? Again, Porter substitution decisions reminds me of Southgate. A lot of people say that. A good day, Kachila, Don Fresh, a good day to you. So this one, we'll start with this one. I really actually didn't want to start with this one. It says, Inter-director Orsilo on Lukaku's loan deal expiring in June. We're not in talks with his agents over a loan deal or his future. We want Lukaku to focus on the pitch. He's improving, and he will help us a lot. To me, this statement simply means they don't want to keep him. He knows he's in debt to us. He will do great things. I don't get this part of the statement. It doesn't make sense. We still owe them, I believe, probably still more than 15 million pounds. Correct me if I'm wrong, it was 70 plus before he went on loan there. So I don't get why they're making this statement. I think you could argue they've actually mopped they've bent us over, and they've done whatever they want with us, really. And Lukaku didn't help. I think maybe in collaboration with Lukaku, they've just you could say his value is practically, you could say, something that whatever we decide to do with him right now, it remains a big L for us, because him saying openly that he doesn't want to come back to Chelsea Football Club, that reduces his value to not anything close to how much we paid for him. They know exactly what they're doing. I'm sure they want to buy him. They want to take him and keep him on a permanent, but they want to make sure their behavior is just making sure they paid practically nothing for him, if that makes sense. But as much as I hate talking about him, about Romelu Lukaku, Chelsea's situation, the truth remains again that you could say the truth remains that Lukaku is the elephant in the room. No matter how you try to avoid talking about him, it still comes up one way or the other. Again, Lukaku on the screen. Yeah, exactly. No matter how you try to avoid it, it comes up somehow. Again, don't you think Chelsea should bring back Lukaku to play with these new attackers? I think, here's the thing. Graham Potter clearly has shown that he preferred a much fluid attack than having a traditional number 9. And Lukaku is a traditional number 9. His first touch, again, sucks. I don't think if he comes back, it's simple. Graham Potter would really have to, you could say, adjust the way he approaches the game to accommodate Lukaku. It would be no different than how that what we saw under Thomas Tuchel, who also vowed that he's not going to change the way he plays to accommodate Lukaku. Rather, Lukaku would have to adjust the way he plays, to be fully, you could say, to start doing well at the club, if that makes sense. Let's say again, big up to you guys. I miss anything? What else? Let me see. Again, he's not coming back to Chelsea. We rival fans are happy. Keep Potter. Yeah, I understand that, but the owners really do want to keep him. This is the thing. Lukaku, for me, has thrown his toys out again 2 times already. That interview was the last drop for a lot of fans. So I understand people not willing to give him a third chance. Plus, he said openly that he doesn't want to come back to Chelsea. He'd rather take a pay cut and join some other club, if that makes sense. So why would we welcome him back to the club? Big up to you, Bobby. Hey, Coach, again, you didn't send the link, I know, but I forgot to send it. I usually like to wear the beat if I want to start off some topic of my own. But thank you, Tabejo, my brother from the Mediba line. I hope you're doing well. Hit the like button, people, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We're 38 likes. Let's get it to 50 and 100 as soon as possible. Osimhen will be like Lukaku at Chelsea. Yeah, he's a good striker. He has a better touch than Lukaku. Probably will adapt better than Lukaku, but I don't want to risk it. I think he's played for so long as a traditional striker. If you try to get him to play differently, it would take him time to adapt. Until we'll fix the problem, I don't think signing any sort of, again, any traditional striker will make any sort of sense, be it Lewandowski or who. Another PR loading on Monday if we lose. Yeah, already I think they've shown that they're a master of again executing a perfect PR to help them, you could say, calm the fans down. I just bring him back. At least again he can finish chances. Yeah, there's more to bringing him back than him finishing chances. But I get your argument. Good day, coach, and a chat. Been a while since I've been tuned in. Supreme Quartz, I hope you're doing well, brother. I don't even know if I've said Happy New Year to you. If I haven't, Happy New Year to you. I hope you're doing well. Please do let us know. Nice to see you. Nkunku and Leao is again illegal. Yeah, I think. Yeah, that would be, you could say, a perfect pairing. We will not be spending that much money on Leao come summer. I'd be surprised if we do. But the rumors are we're willing to pay 100 million for him. When we had early, oh yeah, we were happy, if that makes sense. Also, again, if we were going to give Potter time, why alone Fofana and let him grow with the rest of the team of the squad again? And from what I've seen already, again, I'd say he's good enough. He's actually better than some of the players we have in the team, so it doesn't make any sort of sense. Kachila, again, toys are being thrown left and right and central, and people are saying give time. Lukaku throwing toys shouldn't be an issue. But I get where you're coming from, but his is also an issue. If he comes back, I think he makes the situation worse for us. I didn't see any like, again, little progress on the ground. Potter, again, I didn't think Leao is a baller. I don't think you don't think I think he's a baller really, but he has an issue that nearly every Chelsea fan highlights that he never tracks back. They think for this couple of months. Let's see quickly again. Backing Potter is like fixing a Yugo 55 engine into a Rolls Royce. Wow. That is some statement, or even though I don't know what the Yugo 55 is, but I think you mean something that's not even close to the car you mentioned. Honestly, the issue is much bigger than Porter, although he's almost certainly not the guy. And the current recruitment strategy and from the ownership and process building needs a serious evaluation. Some statement again, but that's why I'm going to bring in Roger. Roger, I want to start you with this comment right here that Mikhail, again, one of the first questions, and thank you for Mikhail for that question. Before we go into talking about Lukaku with Bobby and two of you, please, again, once more, welcome to the panel. Always nice to have you two on the panel here. Roger, your thoughts on this comment here. It says, Coach, he says, a Morning Blues coach panel in chat. That he's saying he heard Fabrizio Romano saying David Dr. Fofana is on the loan list for summer. Make it make sense. To me, I don't know how to make that one make sense. But your thoughts?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you too, brother. I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, doing better, thank you. Just want to quickly give you a heads up that I'm expecting a call from my doctor. So if it comes, I have to drop off. So I apologize.
You don't even need to tell me. That trumps the stream, brother.
Sorry. But yeah, this is a befuddling. How should I put this? Update for Fofana. I hope we don't loan him out. From what I've seen, listen, he's made some mistakes, but I dare you to point out a player that hasn't made mistakes in this team this year. So he's young. I mean, he's so young, and he shows so much promise and potential. He's direct. He's physical. He's fast. He's dynamic. He's everything I like about him. He's raw. He's very raw, but that's You expect that at that age, you know. You don't expect the finished product. He's yet to adapt to this pace of the league and so forth. But from the little I have seen, I like him very much, and I say that objectively. I do not want to see him go on a loan. If it does, you know, and I understand he's so young, you spend 1 year somewhere or even half a year, he could come back and get more playing time. I understand the pros and cons. I really do. But I have a sneaking suspicion that he may not need that. If he gets enough playing time for, let's say, 15 to 17 games plus that we have this season remaining, could be the equivalent of a loan. I see no reason why he shouldn't start ahead of Pierre-Emerick, who is, let's for all intents and purposes, on the outside now looking in. I think, listen, because of, unfortunately, Broja being injured and Lukaku not exactly on our Christmas card list, shall we say, let's be honest, I'd like to see him, at the very least, play 30 to 45 minutes in each game. Hopefully, the majority of them 80 to 90. I'm going to say something, and please don't hate me for it, chaps. But this is, for all intents and purposes, a pre-season, and it's the prelude to next season starting. When Championship League aside, I know Bobby is probably like, what did he just say? I need a shot of vodka right now. But for all intents and purposes, yes, we do need to take all our games seriously and try to win every one. They have to be 101% professional. But these are auditions, and this is a elongated pre-season for next year. This is how I'm looking at it. And I said the season started the first day after the transfer market ended. That's just how I would perceive this season. And the reason why I say that is for people exactly like David Fofana, because there's no reason why he shouldn't be getting a lot more minutes, in my opinion. I mean, aside from the fact that I don't see him day in, day out at Cobham. So from what we see on the pitch, I don't think we should say or can say, no, he doesn't have a right to start. No, he doesn't have the right to come on. I dare any of you to say that. I dare you. Objectively, that is. And I know the beautiful game will come and say it just to mess with me. But you know what I was saying.
Yeah.
That's why. So because of that, you know, I doubt very much he will not double negative, will not progress, and you'll see improvement. And therefore, if that's the case, which I expect it to be incremental, therefore I don't want him going on a loan.
Yeah, it wouldn't make any sort of sense. I think
to me it doesn't.
Let's just say it's all rumors at this point.
Sure. No, I get
even
it.
though it's coming from Fabrizio Romano, I know some people would trust them with their lives, not me. I've seen him make mistakes, especially the Vadio case, which I could argue not down to him really, but still, but still, here's the thing.
Do you
my
agree
point
with
is,
what
it
I
wouldn't
said?
make any sort of sense. It's easy to say that because we didn't pay too much for him. We got him on a cheap. But from what we saw,
still
had we paid, let's say we paid anything like 50, 60 million for him, and he played the way he did in that last game, people would be going, wow, what a signing. But even at that, even though we didn't pay that much money for him, people still recognize that he's a talent. You can still see that he's still raw, but like you argued, if you give him enough game time, even 20, 25 minutes here and there,
exactly,
he will pick up.
Exactly. You know what, Coach? 3 to 5 years ago, that was a lot of money. This market has gone insane, but it is by today's market. It's like £5.29p. It's that cheap. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, he looks the real deal.
Yes, he does.
He looks the real deal, really.
I haven't seen any minutes objectively that I would think otherwise, where you go, oh no, he's way out of his depth. Not at all. Small sampling size, but so far
because we had 100 million we had another potential 100 million again summer buy in the lineup. We had again not one again 100 million potential 100 million summer buy. We had 100 million player in the midfield, but he stood out.
And you know what he did? He I can't remember what minute was the last game. I watched the game twice now, the Southampton game, and he wasn't just a number 9. He played, I would say, a third to nearly half the time on the wing.
He did well in the fluid approach, and we've talked about that he's equipped.
And he did.
He's a number 9, but he's equipped to participate in the fluid approach. You go ahead.
Exactly. On the left, he did well. He ran down the channels. He played well. He beat his man. He crossed the ball. You know, the one thing that I do want to say is, watching the last few games, I'm a little bit concerned about Mudryk, but we'll talk about that later. But he is a little bit disconcerting lately.
No, again, Fofana is the real deal. He's got power. You don't muscle him off the ball easily. He's a good dribbler. He's got pace. He's a good finisher too. But go ahead, I'll let you draw. I'll catch up quickly and bring in Bobby, and we have Eddie in the house too.
Sure, he's Bobby-esque.
Sorry. Supreme Court says again, well, it's either him or Broja. I think we can keep them both and not even spend money on a traditional striker. You can say again, Broja is more. Even Broja can also play on the flanks because he's got pace and also is a good dribbler too. And also, again, one thing I like about him, if he's on the flanks, he doesn't just put the ball in the box. He looks up and put the ball in the box with intent. Targeting again a particular player, not just putting in there, then let those in the box fight again. Deal with it, get at the end of the ball however they can. So 2 of them, I wouldn't mind us keeping them both. Out Potter Clown. Okay, again, it's a laughable again. This theory about Potter, it doesn't. He's done like Dodo again. We have once more. It was one more. Build a European ready team for the EPL. We again where we can be kicked off at the pitch by the likes of Brentford. Maybe you need to you need to rephrase that so I can understand what you're saying. Again, read that again. PSG might get TT back. What are the odds? Again, we beat Dortmund and face a PSG next. Yeah, I heard again they've admitted their mistake. Again, for letting him go, and they're thinking about again. Yeah,
Coach, I dread us facing TT in the future, no matter when it's be. I dread.
Honestly, he will again. He wouldn't mind consulting a juju man to make sure he wins that one. But that's fine. Again, I hope Mount's contract situation. I hope Mount contract situation can either sign or you're gone. We'll get to that in a bit. Again, this is responding to Rashi. Let's see what else I need to get here. Again, only got 3 years. I give Potter 3 years. Okay, I get it. You're trolling. Again, leave me out of this. Oh my goodness! Wow. Again, I was on the background for a while. I didn't see that. Are you talking about backstage? I didn't see that, brother. Apologies if you come back. I'll add you to Beho. Again, you are still my Windows background. Okay. Seems Chelsea are scouting Roberto De again, according to Matt Law. Okay, I didn't know that, and I don't know him that much. I'd have to again take a closer look at him. If Spurs beat us in Potter not being sacked again, I will stop watching Chelsea until they sack him. Yeah, let's see that happen. Again, I've said the thing again. I've said the same thing to Beho. Again, Glenn was waiting to be added on the panel. It was you, Taberho, probably. I missed it. Wado, mark my words. Okay, I will wait to see what will happen. 17 million or nothing for who? Matt Fraud never said anything again. Dacho Fofana deserves a shot. In my opinion, the kid said he wants to be the next Adroba, so I'd give him a run of games. But let's see what the club does. Again, big up Kuchila, big up to you too, Bobby Fairview. Why does everyone think Aboli is a hero? Is a hero to stay? Is here? Okay, is here to stay, so to speak. He is a minority shareholder. Clearly can and should sack him for his fiasco again. And how do you know that every decision the club has made so far that it was up to him? So if we're basing your argument, we're talking about a consortium. every decision isn't down to him. They have to meet one way or the other to decide this is what we want to do. I'm not sure Bolly just comes up and say, let's do this, and then they get it done. It's just that he's fronting. It's probably the most active of all of them, of all the new owners or the group. You could say those are the individuals that make up the clearly consortium. I don't think the whole decision comes down to Bolly. He's fronted again. You could say he's been the most active. So even some people don't even know who Igbali is. You have to start paying attention to know there are other owners, the Swiss man, Igbali, and others too. So, but I don't think everything comes down to him. If anything, I think he's a major. Again, I think he actually has more. I think he's the majority shareholder. I'm not sure, but I don't want to get into that because I don't know the structure of the ownership, if that makes sense. Big up to you too, my brother. Again, Ankit from the Blue Almighty Blues FC. Am I still sleepy here? Almighty Blues FC and Almighty Sports Plus. I hope you're doing well, bro. Thanks so much for finding the time to join the show. If you haven't, guys, again, go check out Almighty Blues FC. Be sure to subscribe. Let him know I sent you. He has to reach 10,000 subscribers as soon as possible because he deserves that after the hard work. And he has, again, a trivia show that I think Roger will be interested in participating. So I can reach out to Roger. I think he'd do well. Even Bobby should participate in that show. 82, the all
Who
good.
is this?
Share the link to your channel whenever you get a chance. Sorry?
Who is this, sir?
Ankit. I don't think you have to check out his YouTube channel. Click the three dots to the right of, again, Almighty Blues FC. Go check out his channel. You will like it.
Sure.
Believe me. Big up everyone. The New York guy. Shoot. Nice to see you, brother. I hope you're doing well. And Kunku would change his mind at the end. He cannot. I think it's signed, sealed. Delivery is all that is left, which means in this case, him joining Chelsea Football Club. And I think he'd be happy to. There's a chance if you're thinking he changes his mind, he's actually thinking if it comes, everything will be all right because he'd be there, if that makes sense. Again, Chelsea willing to sign Leao. Yep, I've seen that. They're willing to pay 100 million pounds for him or euros. I had to pay attention to the currency. Nkunku won't come to London Cowboys. Let's see what happens. Let's all yes, people. Let's beef up the likes. It's going to be a short one today. Because we started an hour, 30 minutes late. We're at 60 likes. Let's get it to 100 as soon as possible. Let's get back to a back three and get two guys next to Enzo Todd. I think that will work, but you can still get back three, get two guys next to Enzo. You're saying like a back three, like what formation, what structure are you really talking about? Can you be specific so we can talk about it? How do you sack a shareholder? Minor or not, sometimes you can vote them out of the leadership. You cannot sack them, but you can vote them out of a role. Am I wrong, Roger?
Could you repeat that, please? Sorry.
You cannot sack a shareholder, but you can vote a shareholder out of a role.
Indeed. Yeah.
Again, you could argue it all depends on the agreement they signed when. Go ahead.
When you say sack a shareholder, it depends. He or she can be removed from the board of directors, but they cannot remove that person's shares unless they're found to be obtained criminally, etc. So, yeah, for all intents and purposes, that's accurate. So, what you said.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, you can say it's accurate, right?
Affirmative.
All right. Thank you very much again. I've consulted my English and business specialist, and he has explained. Big up to you, Stuff, by the way. I'm going to go to Bobby, and I'll try to get your subsequent contributions in the chat letter. Bobby, your thoughts. Again, Roger, have you spoken about the Lukaku situation, or did we start? Did we start with something else? Oh, we started with this one. Yeah. Let's start with this one, Bobby. This one here that talks about Dr. Fofana potentially going out on loan.
Morning, Bobby.
Morning, guys.
And morning to you too, brother. Yeah.
I think it's rubbish, just like so many other things. You know, we've gotten into the habit of complaining and stirring rumors and negativity. I'm bored with it. You know, I want to see a system now in place where, you know, we got problems, where we get rid of the issues around our manager. We get rid of a lot of the issues around instabilities around the club. We get rid of the issues around instabilities and players that need to leave. we have an established structure and we follow it. I don't think anybody's on any loan list yet until the summer itself. You might find things could change between now and the summer. You might find that Fofana does extremely well, or he performs excellently in pre-season. It just, I don't believe it. Sorry, it doesn't make any sense at all.
And I like
It's
the
too
logic. I like
premature.
the logic you use. Nobody's going to be on the loan list until the end of the season.
It doesn't make sense
Because it doesn't make any sort of sense. You still have. He hasn't. Look, the little he's played, he's shown that again. He's a bargain purchase, really. But go ahead. Sorry for cutting you off.
Yeah, so I mean that's all I really have to say about that. As far as Ankit's concerned, yeah, Ankit's a good guy. I used to go on his show. He used to do these quiz things. I
Lovely
used to go
quiz.
on it. I
Lovely
think
quiz
Max used
show.
to go on it. Then after a while, he stopped speaking English. He started speaking in a different language, which
Oh
confused
yeah.
me.
Oh, he does a show in Hindi, which is his native dialect
Oh,
or language. But he does English show. But the quiz show is still it's actually still in English. Whenever he does it, it's still in English. Yeah.
yeah. So that was how we lost touch, because each time he was on a show, I didn't understand what he was saying. He had all these people that spoke that language, so I thought, okay, maybe he didn't really
Understandable.
want to reach out anymore. But yeah, he's a good guy. He's a very good guy.
An excellent knowledge of football, really. Eddie Love for Blue, big up to you, brother. I'm going to come to you straight away. Your thoughts on the Datro Fofana rumors? Eddie, are you with us? Okay, let me get what we have in the chat. If Eddie comes back, then he can speak
Hi,
on
big up,
that.
big up, coach.
Okay, big up to you. Go ahead, brother.
Hello, Eddie.
Yeah, big up, coach. Hi, Rogers and Bobby. Hi. Bobby actually said what I wanted to say about that Fofana's case. To be honest, there's nothing to say. Players from now will have the list of players going out on loan. I mean, if there's any player that we know of now, clearly Santos, who would think if the deal is done, he's going out on loan till December.
Due to, again, they're saying it's stalled due to the length of the loan deal or so. But go ahead.
Oh, is it stalled? Yeah.
That's what they're saying. But again, I don't know if it's progressed. That was the news yesterday that it stalled. But go ahead.
Oh, really? I didn't hear of that though. Okay. So I mean,
but they're still talking, according to report from I think PYS. Right. But go ahead, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's too premature to be talking about loan list now. It's still a long way to go to the end of the season, So I don't think there's anything concrete about that. To be honest, we don't have to bother ourselves about it. Talking about loans now.
While I'm still with you, what do you think about this Lukaku situation? Do you think he ends up coming to us? But again, I'm not really concerned about what Inter are saying. It doesn't look like they're a bit reluctant to commit into keeping him for one more season. I think it's become, you could argue, again, some Inter fans are saying he's become divisive there. Because he came back at a time before he returned. Lautaro Martinez has became the main guy before Lukaku returned. And it's looked like Lautaro Martinez isn't in the mood to help make him the main guy again. And Lukaku has that, you could say he has that main guy syndrome. And one of his chief creators at Inter at that time, in Achraf Hakimi, now plays for PSG. So I don't know what's going on again, but given what you're looking at on the screen, your thoughts, do you think he ends up coming to us? I think it's a risk, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's a big risk. I could see, I saw some comments about some fans saying Lukaku could come back and all. It's just because where we find ourselves now. I mean, if we were firing on all cylinders, like if this team was scoring, nobody will ever. I don't think any fan should talk about Lukaku coming after all he did and all what he said about the club. So, but it's only because they just maybe looking at it thinking, oh, we have creative players now, we have people, we have pace and all, it could help him. But I don't see that happening, to be honest. Lukaku is gone and gone forever. As far as I'm concerned, I would be surprised if Lukaku has a way coming back to the club. He would rather go to a different club. If Inter turns him down, if they don't renew his loan, then I see him going to a different club and different loan. I really don't see Lukaku coming back to the club. I'll be really, really surprised, to be honest.
Yeah. How about you, Bob? You have anything to say to that, or do I get again 8 thoughts?
No, I concur. I can't see a way back. I think the Lukaku ship has well and truly and completely sailed. Not both for footballing and non-footballing reasons. For footballing reasons, he's not really somebody that will fit into the team. He's too much of a lone star, somebody that everybody has to play to, which is done with modern football. For non-footballing reasons, I think he's even recently said he doesn't want to come back to Chelsea. So there's no point. I mean, he's made it abundantly clear. He's done what he's done. I don't think he'll ever be received by the fans. I think it will disrupt the team if he shows up at Stamford Bridge. It's done, gone. There was this thing. I don't know whether it's here. You were mentioning it when I just joined about the fact that we're still owing Inter money.
Yeah.
And well, if they want to scratch the money and take the player, fine. We're going to have to do something like that. The only problem is that they won't want to pay his wages. That's the sticking point that we were put into. But for that, I would just say, just scratch the money and take the player back. It's a big conundrum. Or we could use that as a carrot to extend his loan as we initially planned. But the trouble is, as you've said, Inter now are considering whether they want him at all, which is a big problem.
What do we do with him? I mean,
we have to buy him out, won't we?
Yeah, but can we afford to do that in financial fair play? I have no idea.
That's the problem. FFP,
it wasn't. It compounds again. You could say from a financial perspective, I think a balance in the book will be even more difficult if we buy him out. But go ahead, Bobby.
Sorry, just 1 second. I know in the NFL, let's say you have a 5-year contract and you're in your second year and you get cut, as they say, then those remaining 3 years that the contract was amortized for, that's cancelled out and it's all brought forward to the final year, the current year he's playing at. So that's a hard cap, and I understand. And for all intents and purposes, the EPL has a quote-unquote soft cap. So I'm not sure if those rules apply. So, and if that does indeed transpire, then that would be a huge hit on us this year or whenever we cut him.
I'm sure that the rules don't apply. We have several financial rules to adhere to. We've got FIFA, we've got Europa, and we've got the Premier League.
No, I know. I was just giving context, that's all.
And through all that red tape, the expense incurred in cancelling his contract is going to impact upon our books. Now, can we compensate for that? Yes, but the compensation we want to compensate is to be able to buy more players, not to settle things like this. We might even have to settle a manager. And I can understand the owner's, reluctance to get rid of Potter because of we want to progress. We don't want to be dealing with having to get rid of failed obstacles in the project. So they'll do everything they can to support him so they can keep him. The Lukaku thing, I don't see a way out, to be honest. I think they have to be very, very clever with the sponsors when 3 go at the end of the season, and they have to look at the sales quite strictly. And there will be some players that we don't want to go. So that's just it, really. Lukaku was a terrible piece of business. I just can't say enough. I can't say enough.
Roger, you have anything to add to that?
Sorry, Roger and Bobby, can anybody just educate me about it? Can the club not hold it against him for that interview? Because it's actually brought down his market value, his comments and all, put the club in a bad situation about getting good money for him. And then on that basis, can the contract not be terminated mutually? in terms of nobody gets compared, and we're not
No, but
held on
Well,
to.
if
the
you
initial-
look
to
at
answer
that and
that,
say he did anything wrong, if you
Yeah,
listen to
that-
the
that-
interview, there's an argument. There will be a solid argument that he didn't do anything wrong.
Legally, I
there are
don't
no
think
there
he's
are no
broken.
rules.
Yeah, legally you can't hold
Yeah.
him to anything. It's just people seeing things and saying he shouldn't have said that, shouldn't have. No, it's open to interpretation, and he can come out with a strong lawyer saying. And to me, actually, when I read it, I didn't think he did anything wrong, and the whole thing was taken seriously because he was underperforming when that interview came out. If he was firing on all cylinders when that happened, no, you won't hear too much about it. But go ahead, Bobby. You were saying something.
Yeah, I was going to say, there were no clear rules in his contract inhibiting him from what he said in the interview. There were no direct things he said against the club, which could have been in his contract. So it'll be very difficult. And who wants to mess around with the legal issue with Lukaku? The club hasn't got time for this sort of messing around with individuals. We had that BS with Eva Canero, such that we just settled it out of court. We don't want to be focused on these people. We just want to get on with football, which is what this club is about. I don't see any other way for this club other than to pay him off. I guess they could go and try and get the money off of Marina, but that will be another court case. So you may as well forget it and just pay the money and be done with it. But they're clever people running the club. There are lots of financial people running the club. They'll find a way to either spread the cost or absorb the cost. But however way you cut it, it is a cost. He has cost us money rather than been of any. It's such a bad investment. Talk about a bad investment. But in business, you take collateral damage sometimes and you deal with it. As a friend of mine that recently lost a lot of his goods in a fire. It's bad business. The worst thing in his position was that most of his stuff was insured. Some of it wasn't completely insured. So he's really lost money, but he's got to dust himself down and continue. And that's just what we have to do with Lukaku. Bad deal. But the sooner we get rid of it, the sooner we'll recover from it.
Roger, you have anything to add to that? Roger, you there? Okay, probably on a call. Like you said, he'd be expecting a call. And Taboho, if you're listening, I seriously did not see you backstage. Maybe you've come twice now, and I wasn't paying attention because I'm handling too many stuff at the same time. Again, Aubameyang playing a friendly in Italy. Can you tell us more about that? I want to know. Again, Clearlake might be a shareholder, but they have a no say in the signings. Again, we make or anything. Okay. Bali does not work for Clearlake. Okay, you guys have the conversation there. I'm going to move on from you guys. I have other things there to touch. But okay, oh my goodness, what am I seeing there? Let's see, what else do we have? Again, Poch thunders down between, again, interesting ending to the statement that goes, again, Chelsea will not remove Potter without a plan. Wow, that's interesting, really. If there's any statement that ends, will not remove Potter without a plan, and Poch thunders down, I don't think. Do you really think that Pochettino got an opportunity to coach Chelsea and he said no?
BS. Move on.
Yeah, it's BS indeed. If he gets that opportunity, he would jump on it one time, really.
Of course.
Yeah.
If
that makes
they
sense.
always got to come out with some kind of scandalous story around Chelsea. This is garbage. Garbage. Absolute garbage. What, in a couple of days, they've spoken to this geezer and he's just said no like that? Oh, come on. Come on, please.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible, yeah. Yeah. Again,
if you want a manager, you're approaching with a deal, there's discussions, negotiations. It's not just, that you lose a match and all of a sudden, Chelsea spoke to Pochettino and he said no. Crikey, that stinks of Spurs propaganda all over the gaff. It's bullshit. Sorry.
Yeah, I can. Eddie, if you have anything to say, you can come in for that. If not, again, I think the Fofana loan is another case of having a plan and sticking to it. It isn't always helping us right now. I don't think we should again let that guy go alone. Really, it doesn't make any sort of sense. Why Potter not using Zakaria as a DM in free Enzo a bit? It's very difficult to trust Potter. You could again hesitate. Zakaria just recovered. We don't know whether he's fully fit again. So for Zakaria's case, again, the fact is probably not fully fit right now. Dr. Fofana is just for selling. Zach hasn't been fit since we got Enzo. Yeah, that's a solid argument right there. Let's see what else we have. Yeah.
I just want to add to what this guy that just said about the loan situation.
Mm-hmm.
The only player that is being talked about for loaning at this current point in time is Andrey Santos, and that's because we're helping him by sending him on loan because we can't play him, and we won't be able to play him till at least the summer because of his work permit situation. So that makes absolute sense. But the Fofana thing is almost laughable. You just have to laugh. These people really, really try to throw mud at Chelsea. It's just crazy.
I think the juicy topic today, and we'll get to that very soon, is the Mason Mount again. Whether the club is giving him an ultimatum, but we'll get to that in a bit. To be honest, Lukaku can leave on a free. In my opinion, we won't make a loss on him because again, it wasn't the consultants' money that was spent. Again, it was a romance instead. Really? I don't know. Is that even possible to say they're not going to account for that because it wasn't them that spent the money? Because I think if you're buying a business, you're buying the business debt.
Yeah, but I think maybe the angle is coming from, which I don't really understand. What it actually means is that, when they came in, it was like a clean slate. All the debts were written off. So from the old regime, so it was like debt-free kind of. So maybe that's what he's talking about because it was under Roman's regime. So maybe whatever payment they made then has gone with the Roman's account. Maybe that's what he's trying to say.
And Eugene, if you're watching,
I think he's right. I don't fully understand it, but I've sort of heard something like that. Even stuff like his purchase debt and so on has all been taken care of in the 2.5 billion extra that was paid for the club and is now frozen. So I don't quite know how that works, or is it 1.5 billion debt that Roman wrote off? But that all came in with the cost price of the club. So you're right. They may have offset the debt. And the issue with Lukaku is they're trying to see if he could be some sort of asset. If that's the case, that's great news. But, I'm not sure. I don't know how it works. And that's a good point, AD. I have heard that.
Yeah, we need to have clarity to say maybe, again, they want to account for it. Because if you're not going to account for it, then you shouldn't gain from it too, if that makes sense. Listen, Eugene Naughty, if you use more than 3 emojis, Nightbot is a machine. It's not a human being. It's a robot. It will time you out as long as you're not a mod.
Coach, let me clarify something.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean if you can't account for something, you don't gain from it?
No, for instance, I'm just thinking that's the way I'm seeing it, but I have to learn more about the situation.
Like that.
If you say they're not going to get, if Lukaku is not going to be their L, it's going to be Roman's L, then whatever comes from Lukaku's sale or from Lukaku's loan shouldn't get to their pocket. That's just again, that's the logic I'm thinking, but that doesn't mean I'm correct. That's just what I'm thinking.
The design of business is not just to whip people with a stick and punish them because you feel that they've been naughty. Mm-hmm. This is a deal. If Roman cancelled debt, this is my understanding of the whole thing. He cancelled debt. When you buy a business and the debt of the business has been paid off, you get the clean slate and all the benefits.
But do we know whether the Lukaku again, the whole situation is inclusive?
That's the point.
Yeah, because that would have come in. That would have come in during Roman's era, so that would have been accounted for before the takeover.
Well,
so I think that would have been wiped off based on the information we know, a little bit we know, like
exactly.
Because it would have been wiped off, and then whatever comes in, that does not mean that look at the players he inherited. It doesn't mean that you're not going to pay salaries of these players that inherited.
It's
he's going to keep paying his salaries.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. But
so he's going to keep maybe that's why we have that room. Maybe that's why we have the room of spending this much without affecting our FFP yet.
You've hit the nail on the head. Spot on.
All right, let me catch up with the chat again. Leave me alone. Like I've told you, if you're not a mod, don't use more than 3 emojis. The machine will time me out. And to my bro, the Blue Clouds Media knee Zion, a big up, bro. Again, nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Knee Zion streams every day, and his channel is growing really, really fast. Covers every football club, not just Chelsea, even though he's a Chelsea fan. And again, you need to go check out his channel. Excellent panelists there every day. I think it's usually 10:30 a.m. my time. So I don't know the UK time. I think he will educate you better on that. Go check it out. Click on the 3 dots by his name. Go check out his YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe and let him know I sent you. And Nee, when you get a chance, share the link to your channel so I can tell people when I get to it so they can go or check it out. And Shark says again, Lukaku goes to Atleti as part of the Felix deal. And how much do you think we're going to get? I'm not sure. Again, owner's first priority, owner's secondary priority. Money. Okay. A question for the panel. If Chelsea are unable to sign a striker in the summer because of FFP, what are your options? That's why I'm saying it doesn't make any sort of sense right now to sell, to say, like Bobby explained. Bobby was the one that explained. I was really concerned. And he said that, and then, I said, wait, it doesn't make sense. Before the club decide who goes on the loan list, again, as long as you're part of the first team, it is until the end of the season. They get to see you, watch you play, and assess your performance and say, okay, this is what we want to do with you. So right now, I'm not even sure if we're really interested in signing any striker. I'm not sure. There's no word talent. But if we're not able to do that, then that's when you talk again. If we have that Fofana and Managerial comes in and still again, you could say shows again he's still capable of reaching the form he showed before we decided to keep him, then we're good. I'm not sure. Again, Bobby, you want to talk about this? It says question for the panel: if Chelsea are unable to sign a striker in the summer because of FFP, what are your options? Our options should be Dacho Fofana and Managerial. That's how I see it. I don't know if anybody wants to add anything to that, or should I just move on? All right, I'm going to move on. This one here against. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you see the chat there, the write-up on that chat here is actually thinking the same line of what I was thinking myself. Because if we look at it, but I'm not basing my own thoughts on FFP, because as it stands, I don't think, based on what is coming out from the club, I don't think FFP is anything to talk about yet for Chelsea, especially when we sell some homegrown players.
But it will be an issue for miss out of Champions League, right? You know that.
Yeah, no, but somebody was saying it yesterday. I was listening. They said the analysis of it is that it won't affect yet, especially if we sell some homegrown players. It actually accounts for certain amount of money, which actually helps Chelsea to keep spending.
If you sell a homegrown player, all the proceeds go straight to the club's pocket.
Exactly. So something like that is what is going to help. And then what I'm trying to say is that if our performances continue this way, the way we're performing now, and let's look at it in this way. If somebody like Potter is going after Osimhen and the performance keeps going the way it is now, and somebody like Ten Hag from Manchester United is looking for Osimhen, and somebody like maybe Jurgen Klopp is looking for Osimhen, the way we are performing, do you think Osimhen would actually come to Chelsea?
It's not about how we're performing. It's about what competitions we would have to offer.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was trying to say, that if we cannot show signs of improvement, like these players we signed in January, didn't come based on the performances of Potter. It came based on the project that the owners have for the club. So now it's now based on the personality and the and the capability of the manager now, what he can do. If they don't see progress, okay, if we miss out on Champions League, which we're definitely going to miss out this year, and there's no improvement going to the end of the season, and the owners are coming out to say they're going to give him the whole full season again next season, how does that attract players? How would players be comfortable coming to a manager that they see no signs of improvement, and then the players there already?
When you say the focus of those will be where we're at, whether we're in the Champions League or not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if we miss out on Champions League this year, Chelsea, because of our because of our history, the last 10 years is what is keeping us going now, because they know Chelsea have not been out of the Champions League 2 consecutive years. So if it happens now and no signs to say yes, there is signs of improvement with this manager, and the comments coming out, especially look at the Thiago Silva's wife coming out to like post about not knowing what he's doing. Those are ugly signs coming out from the club. So if we keep going this way and the players within the structure now are not comfortable with this manager, but the owners are insisting on keeping him on, and the performances do not improve going into the summer, which player are we going to attract? Are we going to attract the likes of Declan Rice? Are we going to attract the likes of Osimhen? Are we going to say, because it comes down to the manager, there is a manager pool sometimes in transfer. Oh, this manager is talking to me.
You can say in most cases, a manager has to pick up a phone and call a player before they decide, okay, you know what? I'm joining them because I spoke with him and he convinced me to do so. He described how he wants to use me. But go ahead with what you're saying. I think you're spitting facts here.
Exactly. So if the comments coming out, but I know the owners are only just saying this because they know they can't come out to throw Potter under the bus now, because he loses complete respect of the players and he loses the dressing room. That's why they are coming out to say,
and
even though
it will mean more pressure on him.
Exactly. At the back of their mind, if they inherited Potter with if he wasn't their signing and these performances were like this, I tell you, they would have sacked Potter. But because they know they sacked Tuchel, and these performances is not living up to the standard of what Tuchel did before he left, and they don't want to come out quickly to say, oh, we actually made a mistake. So they are backing him on that basis and saying, oh, we have to give him let him have this season and then have a preseason, and then when we see next season, they're only building up that to say, but they told him something that he needs to put less performances, silence the crowd. So if those things don't fall in place for him, I don't see any other option for them, because is this performance and this manager, the level where he is now, cannot attract these players we're talking about. No amount of project you sell to them. Sorry. Yeah, no amount of project you sell to these players that will attract them to come to this club, except performances. I tell you now, players would rather go play for Arteta the way it stands now than coming to Potter if these performances do not change. Honestly, they would, no matter how we think the history of Chelsea in the last 10 years.
Or not.
Exactly, because I can tell you it's down to the manager. And if you keep playing players and people are watching, you want to go any potential club you're going to, you want to see the performances. When you're making substitutions, taking up Modric and playing Mason Mount as a false 9, and taking out Datro Fofana, who is actually an out-and-out striker, what does that say? I mean, there's so many things that need to change before the season ends, to be honest. If it doesn't change, I tell you, these players we're talking about, no amount of project they want to sell to them, no amount of beautiful project they sell to them, it won't attract them, because it's down to the manager and their playing time on the field.
Eddie, go ahead. Roger, you sounded like you wanted to say something.
Yeah, sorry, chaps. I went missing I had a phone call. So I understand what you're saying, and I agree for all intents and purposes about the vast majority. And it makes sense, you know. But also, I'm looking at it from their perspective. They're meaning the owner's perspective, where if they do indeed wish to have a quote-unquote long-term project, then it really does behoove them to give him more. Him meaning Potter, more time, because that's what they would do in other sports in the US, and that's their MO, what they normally do.
But Roger, he's talking about attracting players,
yes,
of the quality that they need.
Yes, and I think, for instance, we missed out 4 or 5 years ago, however long it was ago. We finished 10th, and I'd have to look it up, but we haven't been. You're right, Eddie. We haven't been out of the Champions League for consecutive seasons in a very long time, and I believe yes, and I know what you're going to say because I totally agree with you, Bobby. Other teams are indeed getting stronger, both on the field and off the field, and that is a huge factor. I concede that, but I believe with this young influx of talent, mixed obviously with some veterans, I think this team has potential to excel. And for a long-term project, they can't just cut someone. Unless we lose every game, the remainder of every game. Yes, I understand. I'm talking about. I watched. How shall I put this? I watched the channel. It's called TIFO, TIFO something.
Roger, I hardly ever interject when you're talking.
No, of course, I respect you.
I really must make this one point.
Go for it.
What is it Adi was saying? Look, it's not about whether long-term projects, short-term project. That's not the issue. The issue is that even attracting the necessary players for this project will not happen unless Mr. Potter starts to perform better. So his performances hinge his performances hinge on the project itself, in that he has to perform to a level with which to attract the players with which to execute the project.
And that's what I was about.
Hey, Bobby, I hate to interject you as well, right?
Guys, I'm getting interjected on an interjection.
Getting feedback from your
Big
own
up,
end.
guys.
Maybe you have YouTube open somewhere.
Hola, senor.
Me? Hey, I gotta say,
the feedback is coming from Eddie's end. Go ahead.
Bobby, you're right. Just you gotta if you take out the word Potter out of that, because I feel like every other player has come in and they haven't used Potter as, the part of the project. They sold these players a project that didn't include Potter, if that makes sense. But Potter has to help the project. I agree.
Oh yeah.
But they showed something there's a big plan there, and I think Potter's a minor piece. Do you get what I'm saying?
Road bump.
Who was that asked me a question, Coach? Something about Werner? What was that?
Huh? No, I'll find it again. Go ahead, Declan. I'll highlight it for you. Go ahead, Declan.
Can I just say something really briefly? I watched it would be really brief, and it was interesting. It was about statistics, and it did a deep dive on it's TIFO.
T4 Football
IRL or whatever, and I forgot the gentleman's name.
T4 Football is the channel you're talking about, I think so. We'll go ahead.
Sure. Did you watch it about Potter's? It did an in-depth dive about statistics about expected goals conceded and scored, and the last 2 years prior to Potter, the gap, the distance between the two, the vector was always in the blue, meaning a positive. But recently, it's been a negative, and it was in red. The integer between them. However, if you expand that, it's actually improving. So the actual, what's the term I'm looking for? The actual trend is actually on the up. So that's the good news. So you've got the bad news, but if you look more in detail, you can see that trend is going up. So that's all I wanted to add. Because
what's
we
the
are
trend?
playing better. The trend between expected goals for and expected goals against. So, and they studied.
Sorry, I thought it was the trend in bad excuses. That's what I thought it was.
No. That's definitely going up, mate.
The
other thing,
I still haven't gotten over. He said Southampton was well prepared.
Okay.
Did you talk about that? And then the Southampton caretaker said we didn't have time for tactics.
Well, they had a week. So all I want to say is the other thing is when we talked about experimenting, going back and forth between formations, that they showed that since I believe this calendar year, that has not been the case, where he's actually steadied the ship. So he's changing far less now than he had before. And they broke it down by minutes. Have you seen the actual 25 to 30 minute episode that was released this week or last week? I suggest
No,
everyone.
haven't.
I recommend. It's a really good analysis. I liked it. Anyway.
But I think it's not a fair one to do now because I feel like there's a lot more harder teams coming.
Sure.
Probably one for the end of the season. But
yeah. No,
I mean,
I'm just saying it gives you insight. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, I think we got a whole bunch of different problems. Like if you're looking to see how this turns around, did Roger just leave? Yeah, if you're looking to see how this turns around, I mean that's
a mic drop.
Yeah, I don't know. People trying to think how. Well, I actually believe that Potter actually wants to get sacked. I think he's come in, realized I don't like it here. I'm just gonna keep doing some weird things till I get sacked. I just want the payout. I don't want to walk away.
No,
I think. I don't think. I'll talk more to the conspiracy theory. I'll add more to the conspiracy theory, right? So when Tuchel got sacked, we heard some weird stuff. Yeah, Tuchel did this. The owners were that heavily involved, right? Let's say that's all true. Well, if the owners are heavily involved, they got Potter in, and there's a situation here. Dressing room's a mess. Strong to handle it. That emotional intelligence doesn't work, doesn't apply. He tried all the tricks they taught him, right? Now, if the owners are heavily involved to the point where, and we barely know them, and even if it was too much for Tuchel or between their relationship, maybe it could be on Potter as well. And after, I don't know, 3-4 months, maybe Potter's had enough, and he just wants out, but he's not going to walk out. So this guy's doing everything that everyone's questioning.
It's not stupid.
Yeah, so maybe he just it sounds like Brendan Rodgers when he wanted to get sacked at the start. Like Leicester can't afford to sack him. That's why they didn't. But he was just moaning and groaning and talked the same. And Potter has taken zero accountability to this point. He even said it. You think I'm the problem? You're wrong. He even said that. Like, so I look, and then everyone said it cost, what is it, 60-80 million to get rid of him? If that's what's holding us back, I'll tell you what, next year's transfer budget, take out 60-80 mil from that, we get less players and get this guy like paid off and gone.
See, this is how I look at it. I think most athletes and coaches / managers do or participate in their respective sport from being a very young age because they love it. You know, Tiger Woods at the age of 4 or 5 didn't swing a golf club because, oh wow, I'm going to be really rich if I'm successful. You know, I was hooked on golf when I was a wee lad. You know, and many other sports, squash, etc. And so I think most of these athletes, in fact, 99.9. Look at gymnastics, for instance. They don't get paid anything, and yet they do it because they fall in love with a certain discipline of a sport. And the same with managing. The average manager works 80+ hours a week. Some of them sleep in their office, you know, and don't come home many nights a week. I think they do it, yes, that they're financially rewarded very well, but I think they do it for the passion of the game. I'm not saying some of them wouldn't do it. I think the vast majority of people that work their tails off, you know, as managers or coaches around the world, I'm talking about, they do it because of the love of the game. Call me.
I'll tell you something. I played, Roger. I played 24/7. Yeah, all I did was kick that ball, right? I just that's all I did at school, after school, weekends, non-stop, right? That's all I did. That's all I remember, right? That's why even I don't even have a great, you know, I didn't come out of school that great too because that's all I knew, you know. Then once I was a young kid playing with all the seniors and that, right? That's where a bit of a mistake was. I pushed very early into an open age seniors team, right? At 15 and that. There was politics at that level. There's money involved. Now there's politics. Sure. There's something I never discovered, right? And I'm still something that I never had to worry about. It was it was an adult world, and I was hearing all these adult politics and problems. And that's on a small scale, what I just described to you, yeah? Now, it's exactly how you described it, but once it comes to clubs, money, and everything, I think it's something else. It's something you love and you love to do, But
It's
then
the
there's money
business,
involved.
yeah.
There's politics. There's your own individual goals. Do you know what I mean? And what you're going to
Yeah.
leave behind, and you think about your future. It's
It's stressful.
totally different from and there's players that retired early. There's players that actually played and didn't like it.
Yeah.
Do you know
And
that?
don't forget your office is your body, right? Or your body is your office, I mean. And so like, when I go to work, I either work from home or I go in and I use a keyboard. But if you're a professional athlete, your body is everything. So I get it. And the stress of recovering from an injury, whatever. And it's the same as a manager or a coach. The stress that whomever, like especially I guess in the relegation zone, it must be immense. It's something that ages them. So I get it, and it can be overwhelming. But I think a lot of them, if not all of them, do it because they do indeed love it. And some quit and become, well, I was about to say journalists, pundits or whatever you want to, analysts, whatever you want to call them, because they'll tell you we get paid more doing TV work for an hour or two a week, even though I have to do research, what have you, than putting in 80 plus hours a week, and take all the abuse. So I get it, but the ones that are successful, they you can tell they truly that they immerse themselves in it, and they're dedicated. So
All right, I think we have to move on to that to get the final topic, because I don't have up to 30 minutes now before we started very late, if you don't mind. But go ahead, I'll let you drop.
No. I'm just saying, it's like I can't see him sabotaging his reputation because he's young. He's 47 in coaching years, that is, and he has.
I thought it's 49.
Okay, I could have sworn he said 47, but I could be wrong. But he's
same difference.
Yeah. He's got a good 15, 20 years ahead of him. Even though right now, if he walks away with a financial reward, he's set for life. I get it, but I think he would miss it if he walked away. That's all I'm saying. You could be right, though.
The part I don't agree is I don't think he'll be sabotaging. I think that it's almost like he's accepted that it's not going to work, right? So it's almost like a player, right? But I mean, it's only thing I said it's conspiracy theory, right?
It looks like we're getting a static from your side. You won't let us hear you.
Yeah, it's bad.
Is it still going?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll rejoin.
Okay. Just say when you rejoin, you can start talking. Kashan, the New York guy, and again, Jesus says, indeed, our performance has improved in beats and pieces during games lately. Dortmund, second half, Southampton, second half, but they are not consistent, and they seem not to be because Supporter is doing something. Okay. So yeah, go ahead, Nicola, with what you were saying.
Is it better?
Yeah, it stopped. Yeah,
much better.
Yeah, like I said, it's a conspiracy theory that actually fits. You know what I mean?
It's cat.
Yeah, because it answers everything, right? He just like an unhappy player doesn't really sabotage their career from when they're down tools, right? They're just not happy at that place. Yeah, like because it happens before you make that decision. Do you know what I mean? Like if you don't like something, the mood's gone, the passion's gone, and then it becomes stress, and then you get to a point where you're just like, I'm not happy here, right? And if you had the choice, you'd walk away, but you'll lose so much money. So I think there's also something maybe in his like a clause that the owners are waiting on, right? Say like if he doesn't qualify for something, or if he finishes a certain position, and then they can sack him for less money. I think that might be something, or maybe they just really heavily believes that he's like some data that they haven't showed us yet, some special data out there that they used, Moneyball or something like that.
I don't think for Potter it's just about the money; it's about his reputation. What big club will hire you? What big club will hire you after that? I just think
he'll go back to a Brighton level. Yeah,
I just think he's out of his depth, and
listen,
the whole situation is just getting to him. I don't think
if he wanted to actually like say, like, let's say he didn't want to stay here for 5 years, yeah, and he eventually wanted to leave, he could actually just on the short term show enough that he can do it at this level, and then want to leave like that afterwards. He can get picked up, But right now, he's making all the wrong decisions. He doesn't. It's almost like he doesn't care, because if everyone's just going to wait for no more injuries, everyone out, all new players in, right, and Potter to just go, okay, now there's zero. Like there's all eliminations, there's no more excuses, and then we're going to start playing. Please, man, we're going to be in bad situations in the future. There's going to be injuries in the future. There's going to be bad situations in the future like that. So if he can't handle it now, if he can't show anything now, then how's he going to do it in the future with a whole brand new team? Even if we are playing well, next season we can be playing well, and then we can get a few injuries, or we can have a run of games, and then we start losing. Then how's this guy pick him up again to get him back in the winning ways? It's going to happen. If he can't do it in this moment, how's he going to do it later? So I just think he's given up. That's why I went down that line. I'm like, what makes this guy? You just said it, yeah. He's got reputation.
Conjecture.
Huh?
Eddie, if you're listening, if you want to come in anytime, you can come in, because I want us to switch from this topic to the final topic. Before we call it a day, we started very late. But go ahead, Declan. Sorry for cutting you off. Okay, are you guys there?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
I'm sorry. I thought Rogers was going to say something.
No, it's just it's just pure conjecture, though. It's not based on anything that I can see, anyway. But
nothing we can see. Like if I ask you, Roger, why we're losing or why like that, there's nothing. Can you see anything besides him making a lot of wrong moves?
Well, I don't.
Or the wrong decision. Sorry.
I don't look at it like that. I look at it as not being clinical. Our defense has been shored up. We seem to be conceding far less goals now, but we seem to be not scoring enough. I mean, it's the same old story.
Are we creating? We're not creating as much chances as well.
Well, no, we've actually turned a corner on that. So that there was a dip in that, and I concede that. But now it's
yeah. But that was the run of easy games. That's why
Dortmund's. Would you call Dortmund? But it's still over a long-term trend. Okay, I wouldn't say it's playing away. But we're never going to agree, mate. We're never going to agree. Sorry.
No. So if you're talking like that's why I say it doesn't make sense, because
Declare your mic again.
Really? I changed. It might be the volume.
There it goes again. Do you have your phone close to it? It's static. It's more like.
You're standing in a bucket of water.
That's old school stuff.
Yeah, it sounds better now. It still happens, really.
Maybe you got a loose cable. Seriously, a loose connection.
It's wireless.
That's all good stuff. Declare, I'll let you drop
Is it work?
again.
Is it all right fixed now?
Move on from that
Yeah,
one.
it's better.
Perfect.
So what that can be? Maybe they're onto me. And the conspiracy theories out.
Oh my god.
Yeah, go ahead. What you were saying, Declare.
I just lost. I almost forgot what I was saying. Sorry. Go. Yeah, you can go on.
Okay, it comes back. Yeah, it's happening again. Porter can now motivate the players against an awful Southampton side that's probably getting relegated. Forget Europe. Porter is taking Chelsea above relegation, both on goals scored and a form. Okay. Again, I predicted last summer that we were months away from Glazers out on Bali. I honestly didn't know he would be this bad. Here's the thing. I think our biggest problem right now, to me, at least that's how I see it, is the manager, not really the owners. The owners, everything they've done, they mean well. If that's how I see it. The money they're spending, they mean well. And it doesn't make any sort of sense to think they'd spend billions in buying the club and then end up running it into the ground. Even if they're profit focused, again, results is what propels again the prop is what you could say will help them and make the sort of profit they want to make from the club. If they're not winning, you're not going to attract big name sponsors and all that. So, but I get your frustration and the way it's coming. Yeah, every time you speak, I get to understand how bad you really do feel about the new owners. But that's why the way we move on from that. Hello, everyone. Again, hello to you too, Constantine and Dante. I hope you're doing well. Again, Jesus, I hate saying your name the way I know you should probably want me to pronounce it. He is under huge pressure. Yep. Again, no matter how you see it. And the fact he's starting to sound defensive whenever he speaks to the press, and the fact that we're getting, however again, those statements are coming out. The club back him. They want him to have one more preseason and all that. The fact that those things are coming out shows he's under pressure, and it also shows the owners again are questioning it again. His you can say his capacity to be able to, again, whether he's the right man. Let me just phrase it like that. So those things again are not good signs for him, no matter how you see it. And him also saying, again, being defensive in the sense he's saying he believes in himself, he knows what he can do and all that. It's not a good sign, really. He's under pressure, and it's getting the pressure is getting to him. And also, again, he gets a lot from people high up. Also, I believe he's also introvert. You could argue that. Again, I don't know if it's taking this stress out somewhere. I don't know either if he's taking it out somewhere. I don't know because otherwise it can explode. He's a human being after all. Coach, morning to you too, Chelsea Blue. Hope things are good. Yeah, again, I'm doing well. He said that we started late today because I had a lot to do yesterday and was very tired. We have a carnival celebrations going on where I am. Chelsea cannot depress me. Yeah, enjoy the carnival. If I were you, again, I'd enjoy the carnival. To be frank, I see flashes of brilliance in our game, individual brilliance. Again, sometimes good interplays too, but they are flashes. Of course, you just said it. The total game management is so poor. Enzo said, again, the football stinks. Did he really say that? Did he say that, really? Potter has a 17 million incentive to get sacked, particularly with Igbali and Bali visiting the training ground every morning. Okay, again, declared the Dalek will exterminate. Is that Dalek or Dalek? I'm not sure how to pronounce that one there. Let's see what else do we have. Anything else? I think I'm just going to scroll to the very bottom, and I'll try to get your subsequent contributions in the chat. We don't have too much time today, unfortunately, and apologies for starting late. But the evening show, one-on-one, only 2 panelists, surely, or just me, premieres today. If it is just me, then I will bring in those in the chat one by one to come speak their mind. It premieres today. Again, I don't want you to miss it. Let's see, again, what else do we have here? Just give me 1 second, guys. I'm trying to find that topic where I hide it. Where did I keep it? Okay, there you go. I think I've sent it. Okay, this one right here. Declared, I'll start with you. I don't know if you've fixed your mic. This is from POIS. It's multiple contract offers have been rejected by Mason Mount in summer of 2021. And then in the autumn, Chelsea are very clear on this. He signs a new deal when dialogue opens again in the summer, or he is going to be sold. I don't know, because this is an ultimatum. If this is true, it's an ultimatum. It's like, do it or you're gone. And I want to declare, if you're there, I want you to look at that. Plus this comment right here. Yep. Let me find it. There's a comment from who started saying something. It was from Boogeyman. This one here saying ultimatum will not work on Mason. He will run his contract down and move to City or United. Wait and watch again. I am advising the club to give him what he wants. Look at again Marcus Rashford. As much as I think Mason Mount is good, I don't think it's Marcus.
City don't want him.
Yeah. You don't know. But go ahead, Declan. Your thoughts.
They got 100 mil Jack Grealish just sitting on the bench. I don't know if they want to take him.
Yeah, go ahead, Declan.
I've argued the point before because a lot of people just don't like Mason Mount and they want him out. And they're not looking at the bigger picture, because Boogeyman's right. Like, if you, and this is going to be a bigger problem this season, you can't just go, well, if you don't sign, I'm going to sell you. He says, so I'm not leaving. He can sit on the bench for a year, but then he's getting the money.
Sitting on the bench. Again, if he decides to sit on the bench for a year, he's not earning that much. He's not helping himself. So can you factor that into your response to that? It wouldn't make sense. He's just on 80.
He won't affect it, but what would happen, right? Is he gets to go to whichever club he wants, and on bigger money than he's probably asking for here. That's what he'll get. He'll get a big sign-on bonus too. He's only 23.
Again, that's where it makes sense. It will make sense for him.
You're talking about a young player, homegrown, right? English. It ticks a lot of boxes, and there is a marketing like area for him too, where he brings in money. Maybe it's just the Chelsea fans, but I think maybe the English fans get behind the two, right? And so they're going to deal that marketing there too. So
the guy, you need to do something. Your microphone isn't really helping with your contribution. We can barely hear you, really. Yeah, we can. The static is actually overshadowing. Should I say? Yeah.
You sound like a darling.
Yeah, I'll just turn it on and off again.
Mm-hmm. Roger, you can come in. You can handle the stream. Let me take care of something. I'll come back as soon as possible. So you're the host now, Roger, if you don't mind.
Oh, okay, let's. No, I'm kidding. No problem. Listen, this is interesting. What's going to happen because let's see because they cut off. Yes, it is. Well, kind of. Yeah. You want to drop or
kind of
continue?
Feedback is coming from your area, AD. If you're listening to the stream from again something like a speaker, I think it will be causing the feedback. Yeah, go ahead, Roger. Over to you. I'll be back in about 5 minutes or a little more.
Yeah, you got it. So do you want to talk or do you want me to talk? Declare.
I didn't understand if Coach told me it's still happening.
No, you're fine now. You're totally fine.
I'll just sum it up.
Go for it.
Basically, on a financial sense, on a financial sense, it's probably a bad idea to give him an ultimatum, right, and not sign him. So he's in a better position than Chelsea, right? So that's why the ultimatum has to come from Mason Mount, not them.
Oh, you're cutting in and out again.
Yeah, it's bad, Declare.
Yeah.
Can I come in, Roger? Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Anyone can. Yeah, go for it.
The situation with Mason Mount is unfortunate for him, to be honest.
Yes.
Because he's looking to get something close or even at par with Reece James, but I don't see that happening. Because Reece James' contract was the negotiation for Reece James was started even before Roman left, so they were thinking of giving him a new contract since. And the performance of Reece James, the position that Reece James finds himself in the team is quite unique. You know, we all know the importance of Reece James. Can we do without Mason Mount now? Of course, yes.
Yes.
So can we do without Reece James now? The answer is in the affirmative. So if we look at that, he's not in a strong position to negotiate this contract to the level at which he's expecting to get. So he's rather, he has choice. It's either he takes the level, and now these new owners are now bringing in a wage cap, you know. So if that is the structure they want to have going forward, it won't favor.
Yeah.
Exactly, it won't favor Mason Mount to keep negotiating. So it's more like it might happen that he leaves the club to move somewhere else, but where is he going to go to get what he thinks is what?
Do you think, Eddie, that they're going to? He will stay, or do you think he will have no choice but to move? What is your opinion?
I think if he's bent on getting the wage, according to information we're getting, what Reece James is on, if he's still bent on that, I don't think he's going to stay.
See, I've heard actually that it's not the wage per se, but it's the term length of the contract. He wants to have more control of his career. He doesn't want a 6 or 7 year contract. He wants a 4 to 5 year. That's what I've heard.
But as well, the wage is also a factor.
Sure.
Of course. The wage as well. You know. So he's thinking the wage. So if he says he doesn't want that length of contract, but the wage is reasonable, I think they'll have a middle ground to meet. I think they'll budge. I mean, they'll have to have a ground to shift. Both sides will shift on that. But if the wage is too high, the demand on the wage, no matter the length of the contract, I don't think he's going to have his way based on what they are building now. I mean, if Kante comes back in, if Enzo is firing, if we end up keeping Dennis, or we end up getting another midfielder, Nkuku is coming in. Yeah. Nkuku is coming in. So that doesn't help him at all. It doesn't help his case. It's just like what happened to Mendy. Mendy was asking for this much, and Mendy felt his performance dropped, and he wasn't in the position to negotiate. He wasn't in a strong position as he was.
The timing is unfortunate from their perspective.
Very unfortunate for him. The timing is very unfortunate for him. So I don't see what's going to happen. I mean, it's looking likely that it might be him leaving than him staying, to be honest.
Sure. I think, though, because I agree with you, you make some really valid points, but I think because he's a Chelsea, well, I know he's a Portsmouth, but he's a Chelsea, lad, so to speak, coming through the Cobham structure. I think that he's probably, if they can come to a reasonable agreement where both parties give a little bit, because that's what you have to do when you negotiate. You can't just take all and you can't just give all. You have to give and take, so to speak. Exactly. I think if it's a reasonable accommodation by both parties, then I can see him staying. But I can also see him walking also. But especially if it's based on the length of the contract with which these rumors have been suggested and reported by like ESPN. If that's the case, then I think he stands more of a chance of staying than he doesn't. But in my opinion, it's a 50-50.
Exactly.
I can see going either way. And you're right. You bring up Mendy. It's identical, isn't it? It's so identical. They were both in form. They were both... there wasn't an incentivized structure in place. That I feel sorry for both of them in that regard, but I don't know. Does anyone else want to come in on that and give their 2 cents worth or 3 cents with inflation?
I would say it's unfortunate for Mount because like the last 2 seasons, he's probably been one of our better players. But, that's just business. The situation at hand is you haven't been performing well. We got new owners. They brought in new players, and you all of a sudden just fell to the bottom of the roster. So it's unfortunate, but that's just how things work out.
But a team like this, just like any team, really, but they need depth. So, and there's always going to be rotation, and I know this sounds really negative, but there's always going to be injuries or nicks. Does that make sense? So, gone are the days where it's your best 11. It's not now. It's you genuinely need 2 starting, material in each position. I really mean that. Sometimes more. Look at us. We've been depleted in so many areas. So you need at least 2. Because you're going to play between 55 and 65 games. Hopefully, and no one can sustain that. For at least 90 minutes, because it's going to catch up with you muscular-wise. You're going to start pulling muscles, no matter how well you look after your body. So, to be honest, you're right though. There's been a huge influx of talent, especially in his position, unlike Mendy's for the most part, and so he is at I would say the bottom of the rung, but he's not exactly at the top, and he's going to have to fight. And I think this will motivate him and everybody, by the way. When you have this competition, it breeds, competition. And I think this cannot be anything but a good thing. This should raise the effort level with which we all require as fans. And more importantly, negate any, shall we say, lackluster attitudes. The one thing that this team is missing, I'm going to tell you, is big leaders. And Silva, he leads by example. I get that. But gone are the days where there's a John Terry. Listen, I love Aspie. He's great. But he's probably gone after this year. So who else is there that's going to come in like a Terry, like a Lampard, like a Drogba, with big personalities? And sorry, sir?
We'll buy him. Is my mic fixed? think I found the problem.
No,
Nah, it's
really,
not.
it's not. I swear to
Oh, wait,
God,
I'll
I'm
rejoin.
not messing with
Maybe
you.
maybe your Wi-Fi or something.
No.
You gotta
Yeah.
reset your router.
Yeah,
I-
exactly. Not router, but it could
I
be
don't think it's a
different
net issue.
channel. What device are you using,
Yeah,
if you don't mind me asking? Are you using a phone?
No, I'm using a headset.
A headset on what?
Wireless.
Yeah,
A PC.
but on a PC,
Yeah.
you may have to reboot or kill the actual browser and start again. Have you thought about
Yeah.
that, or reboot
No, I did that
both?
before.
Oh,
I think it was
Well,
on the
then-
settings. I'll be right back.
sure. I'm sorry, Albin.
Yeah.
So
But my thing is though, all right, like Mount,
yeah,
I would want him to come off the bench and he'll be solid depth. But I think he thinks his worth is more than just being
No,
a
sure.
bench player. I think he
Sure.
wants to be a every game starter on a club.
So I just want to bring in. I just want to say one thing. I believe his father is his agent, and I remember, was it ESPN or BT? Some sports outlet was saying that he's actually looking for new agents because, listen, when you have your family representing you, that's a very good thing because they genuinely are looking out for your best interest. But also, they can be, shall we say, blinded by love of the person, and they're not looking at terms of an agreement objectively. They could be, to use an American expression, bigging him up, if that makes sense. So, no, seriously, that happens. And, very few relatives that are agents are professionally trained, like as in, attorneys or lawyers, and that actually specialize in that. Very few, like less than 1%. And B is they may perhaps have their relative too much in their heart. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think you're right. I totally agree. He does. His expectations are perhaps non-realistic, and and if that's the case, then he needs a reset button for himself, but also his supporting staff. Because if they're asking for the moon, then that's unrealistic. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree with
yeah.
that. The issue is he'll just go back. Oh, the last 2 seasons I did this and that.
Yeah.
But, it's a different ownership, different regime, so they're not going to be so lenient with you did this and this in the past.
Sure. What have you done for me lately? Yeah, I get it. Yeah,
so,
and that's realistic and that's fair and objective, in my opinion. So I'd like to bring in a chap. I don't think any of you know him yet.
Roger, go ahead.
How are you?
Roger, just go ahead with your walk. I'm still doing something. Go ahead, bro.
So
Go
we've
ahead if you don't
decided to
mind,
get rid of
please.
the
And I hope you don't
4-2-3-1.
mind.
No, not at all. The 4-2-3-1's gone, sir. I'm joking. So yeah, no, it's I'll be honest with you. I can really see it going both ways. I'm on the fence on this, 50-50. I can genuinely see him staying, and I can genuinely see him walking, or even being sold. I don't think he's going to go overseas. I think the best, if he does go, it will be a Liverpool. Someone like a Klopp. He would probably, Klopp will be bloody, for all intents and purposes, when he's sleeping, he'll be counting little Mount sheep. It's simple as that. He would love this kind of player. High intensity. Yes, he's not exactly the most technical player, but this is Klopp's type of player. I think he wants this kind of person. He's young. He's got enough experience, and he's a hardworking person. I think that they would suit each other. But I think he may be. I think his options could be rather limited, actually, even though he's a homegrown player, as they say, and so forth. I think, was it ESPN that was saying he'll have many suitors? I don't think he'll have that many because of his expectations and demands also.
Yeah, he's going to want to stay in England. He's going to want to be a starter for a majority of the games.
Yeah. I think he needs to. I think the people around him, they may need to seriously sit him down and reset his expectations. But is that going to happen? That's yet to be determined, isn't it? I mean, I'm glad he's what's the term I'm looking for? Is there feedback? I'm glad he's ambitious and he's determined and so forth, but he also needs to be more realistic. That's just my opinion, because he's taken a step backwards this year. It's noticeable, but his effort is there, which I like, but his production, his end produce is lacking, and I think his confidence could be low, but at least he's running his socks off. That's half the battle.
I mean, that's like
it looks like Eddie wanted to say something, but
I'm sorry,
feedback was coming from his end.
Yeah,
I know you didn't know.
Yeah, you're right. That's half the battle. But as fans, that's what we expect. Whether you're a Yeovil Town fan, no disrespect to them, but that's all you want to see. You want to see effort. That's the very minimal, right? In any sport, actually. But you'd be amazed how many players just have this casual, this laissez-faire attitude. It's look at Messi. Look at the front three of PSG. Unbelievably talented, world-class players. But there's discussion, on ESPN that are basically saying you can't play these three together anymore because they don't track back. The team cannot compensate for only having 7 people that are willing to do the work. It's just not sustainable. And when you get to the point where you actually think you're bigger than your teammates, the team as a collective, you become detrimental. And that's what you're seeing. Because on paper, PSG should be winning every game and they should be Champions League champions 10 times over. Do you see what I'm saying? But the game isn't played on paper.
Yeah. Eddie, let's get your response to this.
Are you a Yeovil fan, Roger?
No, but my cousin and I, who's a huge Liverpool fan, we'll always make fun of each other's team when we're losers. Like we'll send a text saying Yeovil Town or whatever. No, I've never been to Yeovil, but it's just it's like a 4th division team. It's quaint, but not exactly Manchester United.
Yeah, Eddie, go ahead.
Are you there, Eddie?
Eddie, are you there? I had to mute you because of the feedback. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You can speak.
Yeah, I said my son is on loan at Yeovil Town now, so I thought you're a Yeovil fan.
No. Oh, I'm sorry if I've offended or anything. I don't mean it at all.
That's all right.
I'm so sorry. I won't say Yeovil Town anymore. But
that's fine. We need more fans. He's on loan there now from Ipswich because he plays for Ipswich. He's on loan there now to the end of the season.
I'm so proud, mate. It's like I say it because it's such a small. I remember as a child, every Saturday they would announce all the results in all 4 divisions. It'll be Yeovil Town, versus
exactly.
So
Eddie, have you spoken regarding Mount's situation? And please,
I was actually going to ask.
You have something open that said the feedback is coming from your end. Maybe really? You have.
No, I don't have anything open. No, nothing is open. No.
Really? No, okay, you go ahead. Go ahead. You can speak about the Mason Mount situation. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I was going to ask. Say, which of the teams that is actually being linked to now? Liverpool, Man United, Man City. Which one does Mount think is going to be a starter? Which of these teams does he really think that he's going to walk in there and is going to start games?
Well, see, that's what I mean.
Yes, Liverpool. That's it.
Yeah, because
Liverpool want to sign Bellingham as well. So
yes, but they are lacking. They've got so little tread on that tire now in their midfield. They are depleted, and what they do have is not exactly youthful, shall we say, for the most part. And you know what? I get it about starting, but I don't think it's about starting anymore. I think you need 2 starting players, for rotational purposes in every position now. There is no starting 11 anymore. I mean, there's some exceptions. There are some, like, I'm trying to think, like De Bruyne. And, if you're picking the sheet, if you're the manager of Man City, I would want to start De Bruyne in the big games. Like for us, Kante for the big games.
Yeah. Let's let Eddie drop because we don't have too much time.
I'm sorry, Eddie. I apologize.
No, you don't worry. It's not your fault. Eddie, go ahead if you're there, so I can give those in the chat some audience.
Yeah, I just saying that because if he's talking about the wage, because both are what we're hearing about, the wage demand and then the length of the contract. So if it's about the wage, I don't think Liverpool will pay as much as what he's expecting to get, and I don't know where he's going to get that. I mean, if he's looking at what Reece James, because what we hear is he wants to get, if not the same, as close as what Reece James has been offered. So if he thinks he's going to get that amount, I don't know where he's going to get that from, to be honest.
He might as well go to Fulham or something.
Hey, you know what? Liverpool have a very stringent wage structure too. You know, they don't, with the exception of Salah, they really don't splash out on wages. You're right.
Exactly.
In terms of, again, his current form doesn't help what we're hearing that he's looking for in terms of wages. But that's by the way, AD, I don't know if you're still speaking. I'll let you speak because if you're not muted, I'm speaking. The feedback is coming. Something from your end.
No, it's okay now. I've actually just moved away now. You're still getting feedback, yeah?
No, it's fine now.
All right.
No, but if I speak, I only get the feedback when I speak.
Yeah.
All right.
My last thing on Mel, I just feel like his name, like his brand is bigger than like his actual like talent. So I kind of think that's like the problem.
Why is that?
Was good.
Because he's not as good as everyone says he's so good, like Minerals, but he's not as bad as his critics say.
And you have to name Minerals.
I just think he's like the golden child of this club. You know, everyone treats him like the golden child. And now players, we see that he's not that.
Yeah, I think he's a very good player, but I don't think he's our best player. I don't think he's our worst. I think he's a good to very good player, you know, but I don't know. He's a Marmite player, which I don't understand either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just give me 1 second. Mason Mount is a virus and needs to go. And I like him. He's the pass. Can you explain why you think he's a virus? I really want to know. Rashford has a mentality unlike Mount. Mount too he has a mentality. You could argue as much as I don't think he's the best player or the worst player at Chelsea. All again, it is right now is that he's out of form, and it looks like he's also, like you could say, lacks in confidence. Probably distracted about the whole contract situation. Mount N worth 300 pounds a week, 300,000 pounds a week. It's not that guy. Cashing on him. I think the most likely thing that will happen is that he leaves. I don't know, but that's what I think. But it's, in my opinion, I think he ends up leaving. Proper chess Mason Mount can go and be proper a scout. Okay, I don't know what you mean by that, Coach. Can you give me again your opinion of what his style of play is? Are you talking about Mason Mount? I'm not sure how to respond to that, really. Mount is on a bad run of play again. Believe me, we shouldn't lose him. As much as I think, again, we should keep him. But it's not going to be that simple, really. The owners will have to, you could say again, go against, you could say, do something different from their new wage structure, if that makes sense to you, or contract construct. Let me just better phrase, maybe. 2 wins out of 15 games, again, means 2 things. 1, Potter cannot use the squad. 2, the players don't believe in him. Maybe get a solution finally. Coach must be replaced because you cannot replace the squad. Yeah, I have a tweet.
2 out of 14.
Yeah, I believe that. Again, 2 things. 2 of those things. Either of those 2 of those things again could be the problem. And the easiest of the 2 will be to sack the manager. You can't change the squad especially after spending £600 million of plus. If that makes sense, I'd rather see Mount go in the summer.
I got one more red flag. One more red flag is having Kai Havertz as our striker. that's another red flag we have there.
But he's not a striker. That's just it.
Yeah,
exactly. Again, Bobby Ferguson saying, "Sorry, Coach. Again, sorry, mate. But you have been advocating blind faith by the owners and directors from the jump. We are now in a relegation fight.
No, we're not.
Don't think this again, Jan. Again, about the best interest of the club. Here's the thing. You see it the way you see it. I see it the way I see it. My biggest concern with this owners is that again they will end up dragging us into the Super League. That's
Yeah.
my biggest concern of them.
Yeah, that's
Seriously.
what happened.
Still happening. Mr. Paulito Way, I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for finding the time to join the show. Bali doesn't do a 4-year contract, 8-year contract. So that's, again, I think you're referencing, you're talking about Mason Mount's contract. That's a chance the length of the contract is the biggest hurdle there. I don't know. Question for the panel, if you say, if second we get all the players we want, where will Mason Mount play? That's a good question. Maybe he's actually looked at it and seen maybe he'd find it difficult to get playing time. I don't know. Declan, what do you think about this question?
Is my mic fixed?
Yes.
Yeah, for now.
10th time the charm.
Look, listen, Roger, and he had to go, is my mic fixed? Good, Declan. Good, brother. It sounds better.
Why does everyone think like someone's position is solidified, like before even they come in? I mean, even these new signings that we got, they look well now, and maybe not later. I think what we were getting, and there's going to be more spending, is a hunger, like what is it? I was going to say like Hunger Games style of youth, potential talent, all fighting each other. If what Mount is going to be doing and what everyone else should be doing is fighting for position. If he doesn't start, he doesn't start, but he should be fighting. And if Mount manages to start, then someone else should be fighting for that position. At that age, if you want to solidify your spot, you got to keep performing.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing with young players too. They lack consistency, and you're going to see that when everyone else leaves. And all we're left is
right?
we have an average age of 24, 25, whatever, or no, 23, could be even more, lower. So everyone's just like, oh, Mount. There's too much. I think there's too much hate for the guy, and people don't. People are just like, yeah, where's he gonna play? He must leave. I mean, if we hold that standard to everyone else, then a lot of other players should leave, and all these new signings might end up leaving too. But everyone's standard, I don't think it's a good measuring stick for that. Help people use it the way people use that phrase.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your microphone is excellent now, but it looks like you've run out of gas yourself.
What's more to say? It's boring.
If you want to. That's what I'm saying.
You want to talk about Potter? No problem. But the Mount one, but the Mount one, I just don't get. There's no logic. Like, people don't make logical arguments. Even what I was talking before, when my mic started stuffing up, it makes financial sense just to hold him, maybe sell him later, then rather than to lose him for free.
But holding him means him agreeing to a new contract. Because he doesn't have he has about 16 months or so. How many months left on his contract? 18 months or so, I'm not sure.
I think it'll be 1 year at the end of the season.
Yeah, exactly.
1 year at the end. Yeah.
So which makes it even more difficult. But here's the thing, Declan, where we are right now with him, if in fact other clubs have had, again, we heard before last week or so that Liverpool have had contact with his camp. So if that's the case and they're willing to pay him more than Chelsea are willing to pay him, I think he'd probably feel like, again, if he feels like Chelsea are disrespecting him by not even, again, trying to come close to what he's asking, he'd leave. I don't know. That's how I see it. It's even more difficult now.
That's what's going to happen, Coach. It's not going to be just Liverpool. There's going to be heaps of clubs after him, right, to get him on a free transfer.
We don't have to start naming them. But right now, if you ask clubs, they tell you they don't think Chelsea will sell him.
How much do you can get?
Chelsea don't have that power anymore. He's got 1 year left.
Yeah,
trying to convince him.
He has all the power.
If he doesn't like what you have to say,
he has all the power, but has he been performing to put that power to give himself leverage?
No, that's what I was going to add. It's not just because has he been performing? No one's been performing, right? No one's been that great, right? So, I'm trying to say two things at once here.
Apart from
Silva, it comes down to the contract issue, apart from Silva, when it comes down to the contract, right? When it comes to like that last season, that you can't sell it. Like if he doesn't like where you're offering, right? Not only our clubs are going to get him at a discount price if we do sell him, but he can just say no. I'm just going to chill. I'm just going to stay here for a bit, and then you can't replace it. And you know what? You're going to find that with Lukaku as well. You're going to find that with a whole bunch of players they want to get rid of next season, right? They're going to find that, like, if they want to get rid of Koulibaly, right? The guy's getting 300k. How are you going to get Koulibaly out? Where's Koulibaly? Like, where can you shift Koulibaly? And not only to that, if you're going to lose Mason Mount on a free, how much money are you going to spend to get that position as well? Another player in that
I don't
position?
think he would leave on the free, though. I think we would get rid of him this year, and then we will make some money back.
I don't think you understand what I said. It's not the club's decision. It's Mason Mount's decision. So if he wants...
And if you're getting rid of him, how much are you going to get from him?
Think of this, yeah. The clubs that want Mason Mount are our rivals, right? It's not other leagues that are not other big leagues that are actually that keen for him, because he has more stock in the English league, right? So if we don't want to sell to our rivals, but our rivals come and say, look, we'll make you an offer, pre-offer, at the end of the next season, you come on a free, you choose us, this is the pay package we'll give you. He'll get more money than he wanted here. They'll give him a massive sign-on bonus as well, and he'll play for a rival club, and we'll get nothing for it.
Good, let him go, and then we can get a Jude Bellingham, or we can get someone else to fill in that void.
It's not that simple, really. It's not that simple.
So you're going to lose the potential. If Mount's anywhere from 50 to 70 mil, that some people have.
You can't. I don't think you get 30 for him right now. I don't think you get 30 for him.
I think the market's moved. If you sell him now, look, Conor Gallagher was going with what, 40,
45,
50?
yeah.
I reckon for 1 year Mount, right? A 1 year Mount, you can get 50, I reckon. But besides the point, so this player that you keep and probably sell him 70 later if he starts performing, and even 50, 70, right? Because you sign him on. You don't want to keep him, you just let him go for free. And then what are you going to spend? 150 mil for Jude Bellingham? 100.
We're also getting rid of we're also getting other players out of here too, like Ziyech, Pulisic. Pulisic. We're getting a bunch of other players out of here too, so we'll have.
But is this to recruit money? Is this to recruit money?
It was for FFP reasons, so we can balance everything out. And
yeah, so who are we getting rid of?
Someone.
I got a list here.
I just named them. I said Ziyech. You can get rid of Pulisic. Ziyech. You can get rid of Kovacic. You can get rid of a bunch. You can get rid of a few other people.
Yeah, you can get rid of the whole team if you want. That's not the argument, right? So who comes in for these players? Are we going to pull them from the academy, or are we buying?
Let me ask you this.
We don't need to replace every single player that we're losing.
Okay,
let me ask you this, Declan. What do you think will end up happening? Just quickly, what do you think will end up happening?
Look, I'm not ruling out he's not going to leave. I think there's a big factor that comes into play with our performance. I think it's disgusting at Chelsea at the moment, right? I think a lot of players actually probably want to get out of there, right? I think that the dressing room is the most disgusting bit, and now there's so many more new players. I think it's just a mess. If you count the new ownership, the whole bunch of new players, I don't know, what was it, 39 players, 30 plus players in that dressing room now, right? Everyone want to play. There's contracts.
33, I think. 34.
Yeah, 33. So it's a massive mess, and I think there's a lot of players that just want out. So Mason Mount could be one of those players that when a player wants out and the club's trying to negotiate a contract, just like Rudiger, right? He'll go, well, I want this much, right? And the club goes no, and they keep working with him. It's all right. That amount of money anyway, he's going to get it at another club on a free transfer. But it's a win-win situation because he can ask Chelsea, I give him this money. All right, no, and he'll get that money anyway, right? But he was already leaving. He already was kind of 1 foot out the door. Right?
Yeah,
a lot of clubs do that.
300K a week.
Yeah,
it's again, like I'll give you another good case where Ozil didn't want to be there, but they asked for an insane number, 320 back then, right? And Arsenal gave it to him because they lost Sanchez, and they didn't want to lose both. But Ozil didn't want to be there, right? and they asked for a massive number, and they got the massive number.
So in that
right?
situation, one player left, so they needed that player much more, right? So his demand was higher, right? We have players that are ahead of Mount right now, and Mount is not playing well. So how does he have
No
the
one's
leverage
playing well.
to get more money?
No one's playing well. But you're right. He should be
How does
playing
he have the
better
leverage
for
to
his
get more
contract.
money?
I don't know. I don't know what he's asking for, right? Because I
Correct.
heard 300k, which is kind of crazy.
No, they're not going to do that. It's going to be heavily incentivized.
Yeah. So
I think
if they're
nobody
trying to-
knows how much the kid is asking.
Yeah.
Really.
And also,
heard
you got to
that
take into account he's been playing on 70k for this whole time he's been here. Like,
Yeah,
it's
80, I
actually.
think.
80.
But
Same-
again,
yeah,
but
same
again,
thing. This is one
it's
of the
so
lowest
low.
paid.
The point is that it's low. He's
Yeah.
one of the lowest earners and earners in the first team.
Yeah, I
He needs
think
to get more.
I think even if you think Mount as a bench player, you should sign him. They should be eager to find a middle ground for him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you know
I
what
would
I
want
I
him
think
Or
they
else-
should,
or else
but
you kinda lose him for
it's
free.
way too difficult right now.
But coach, it's so I think I can't remember which outlet it was, but I think the sticking point is not actually the amount of money, but the length of contract. He wants more control over his future. He wants only probably a 4 to 5 year maximum, or 4+1. They want probably a 5 to 6+1.
We don't know. All right. Again, I want to say thank you for your people. I think I'm actually stretching it right now, if you don't mind. Declare, so sorry.
Yep.
That again, I always like
That's
to
okay.
have you on
I was
the
late.
panel. But again, we're gonna cut your Lundale short. You joined late. But that's
You're
why
lucky
again, much,
I didn't come
Yeah.
right after the Southampton game, right?
yeah.
Because that's
it
when
was interesting.
that's when I would
again,
have been collecting.
Yeah, I have to run and declare again. There's an evening show that premieres today, and probably I know you'd love to be participant. We'll talk about that later on in the day after. Again,
How many
later
hours
on
is
in the
that?
day. I can't talk immediately after the show. Roger, may I suggest you use Arrington Stanley in your next analogy going forward?
Yeah, it's Accrington.
Ole
It's
2.0
Accrington,
and
Stanley.
Taberho. I sent you a message. I didn't know you were at the backstage. Also, again, Havertz has been that bad. Let's be real. We're not going to talk about that right now. Edwin, his son. Yep, his son. Again, is a footballer. He's talked about that before, but not as in detail as he did today. I didn't know. Again, he was actually playing professionally, and also is on loan somewhere now. So, but yeah, let's leave it at that. Except if he tells us his name, then we'll go look it up. He hasn't told us his name. Mount is a sure upgrade on James Milner at Liverpool. Yep, and brings everything that Lima again. Milner offers even more. Actually, I think you could argue Mount is actually more technically gifted than James Milner. That's my argument. Maybe I have to pay attention more. If anything, at this point, Milner is just more experienced. Mount, again, I would say that Milner is still playing at 37. Yeah, he's taking good care of himself. Mineras, somebody mentioned Mineras there before. Again, with that, I'm going to go to the very bottom. Apologies, guys. I don't have time enough to get all your comments. And also, I've been doing that. Let me not talk about it, but I'll explain later. I haven't read much, again, of late because I'm still recovering. If I push myself too hard, I'll lose my voice again. Even though it sounds like, yeah, it's perfect. It's not perfect yet. But that's, by the way, let's see what else we have here. Just the other weekend, I don't see Mount going for free because it's not going to stay and not play. So I see him being sold. That's a solid argument. But let's see what the kid does. Apart from Ajax, again, apart from Ajax, point out a club with a bunch of kids that won titles in big leagues. Chelsea is joking. Yeah, I get it. Balance is key. I think behind the scenes, Porter is in trouble. As seen in 3 games of Ultimatum. How do we know that that's actually the 3 games Ultimatum is the truth? Because it's everywhere. We see one that says he needs a preseason. He needs at least one more season. We see one he needs until the end of the season, and that one. So there's no telling what they're saying. But the truth remains, he's under pressure, and it's getting under him because he's become so defensive whenever he speaks to the media. Mount doesn't get into this 11. They could argue that, but again, Potter likes him. Really. Likes him. He's just out of form, and that's why Potter hasn't played him. Mount should have negotiated in 2021. Well, he's better positioned to earn more now. So he's not the one to lose. The club is the one. Again, the hierarchy, club hierarchy is the one. Again, they're the ones that will find it difficult to get him to do what they want. Instead, they'd have to do what he wants or something close for him to listen to them. If that makes sense. Porter Loyo starter, Ruben Loftus-Cheek Mount. I think Loftus-Cheek anytime, any day. Sorry guys, if you have to ask me to choose between the two, I think it's criminal to force a player or mandate a player to sign 8-year contract, most especially when the player is 24 or 25 years old. Really? If it's criminal, then they're in trouble by now. You know how many they've done. Ajax does not play in a big league, though. Wow, that's some disrespect to the Dutch league. And we pay hundreds of millions of pounds to get their player. Barcelona did it. Manchester United paid how much for Anthony? But you can argue how is he going for them with Anthony, who dribbles ghosts, if I'm allowed to say that. If Chelsea loses against Tottenham and Leeds again, are you guys going to be worried about a relegation battle? A question for the panel. Okay, Roger, you go for this one quickly. I think I have about two. Oof, no, I don't have time, but go for it, Roger. After that, I'll call it a day.
No, not at all. I mean, okay, so we go down this year knowing my luck, but no. Right now, I think, listen, we're not in a good vein of form. I think we can all safely assume this and agree on this. Mm-hmm. With the players and talent we have, you can see it. You know, I think over the next 15 plus games, I think realistically, we're probably going to end up between 8th and 6th. This is what I thought before, just around the transfer window closing. You know, did I think we'd lose to Southampton? No, you know, but I believe we're going to have a lot of draws. And I think with this, no matter what formation we play, I think this team is good enough to do better than they're doing. And the one thing that gives me encouragement is our defensive or ability to not concede goals now. We've tightened that up, and rightfully so. And you know, with the additions of Badiashile, etc., and obviously playing with Silva, I think it looks good. And Kepa's in amazing form. By the way, I think he's had an outstanding season. We need to acknowledge that. However, the one thing that worries me no end is the fact that we are yet again not being clinical. You know, we'd be top of the league if we were hitting the post. If hitting the woodwork counts, we'd be top of the league. It's ridiculous, ridiculous, as you would say. We just need to be more clinical. It's that simple.
All right.
Game, you see this.
All right, you've heard from Porter's lawyer. Again, he hasn't fought for Porter today, but he just did. So that's his ID. That's a confirmed, and that's Roger really speaking. But that's why, again, people, I can't force myself to stay any longer. If I do, I wouldn't be making any sort of sense if I'm talking, because my mind will be everywhere. But that's, by the way, please, I hope to see you guys during the evening show as it premieres today. Thank you so much to everyone in the chat. I cannot thank you guys enough. See you guys next time. God bless us all, and ciao.
Ciao.
Damn, you've been wrong for 7 months.